Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that thing. They're going to want to see that thing, Alan. That face. You good?
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. Today is another 20-minute Scratching the Surface episode. If you are listening to this, it is probably Friday, and we switched around our schedule a little bit because on Wednesday we are now dropping our new series, Small Talks.
Small Talks, yes.
Yes.
So today, Kevin mentioned in the preamble a little bit that I'm probably going to be talking a little bit more on this episode because... So we did an episode in Florida on intentions versus wishes, and then I think after that we did some of this behind the scenes where we talked about specific goals for 2019 for you. And so a lot of people set goals this time of year. We've been talking a lot about that, but you cannot set a goal without also wanting the process to achieve it. Because everyone wants stuff, but who wants to put in the work? And so... Kevin came back from Florida from a place where it was very easy to stay disciplined because you didn't have a TV and you were in a place with other people that are super disciplined and regimented. And then you kind of got overwhelmed because you realized that we changed everything up. So when your true north, your goals, your intentions change, all of a sudden your whole life, the day-to-day logistics also need to shift. But that can be a really tough transition for people. So that's what this episode's about.
I feel like a lot of people are probably in the space that I've been in where it's like you really crush it. You crush it for a while, and then everything kind of like feels like it's not working anymore, and you don't know why, right? And then I'm lucky enough to have people around me, especially you, who you know when I'm burning down, usually why. Usually I'm not equipped. Usually I don't have what I need to get or I'm overwhelmed with work or whatever it is, right? So this is something that you taught me before. So we're actually going to teach you today how to create your own system of success that Alan uses, that I use. I actually made the joke last time when I was using it that it works so well that I stopped using it. Like it works so well, but you have to keep after it. You have to keep doing it. You have to keep putting in the consistent work, and that's where people tend to fall off. So this system of success it makes it really easy for you to see like, oh, okay, if I do these small things every day, that's ultimately going to bring me up the side of the mountain to my goals in a uniform direction. That's the whole point of it. So Alan's going to do most of the talking because it's his thing.
So the first thing that I want to articulate is if you picture me drawing on a whiteboard right now for those just listening, and we'll go in depth with this afterwards, behind the curtain episode on the website. But for this episode, picture in the middle, you've got a giant bubble that says system of success in it. On the left, you have inputs with an arrow into the system of success, and then you have an arrow out with outputs. So this whole system is based on Newton's third law. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, cause and effect. So if you want a specific effect, in other words, an output, so a goal, then you have to change the inputs. So if you want a specific output, you have to change the inputs. So that's what it is. So if you set a goal for 2019, which we're going to do on this episode, then you need to reverse engineer what inputs need to happen each day in order to make sure that you're getting the output that you want. In other words, making progress towards that goal. And then there's a line that goes down from there. And it's a feedback loop back into the inputs where you measure and adjust. So you have inputs, which are your daily disciplines. You get a specific output, and then you measure and adjust the inputs based on whether or not you're making progress. So first and foremost, the first step here is to set intentions for 2019. So we sat down and did this with Kevin because when he came back from Florida, he was like, crap, I don't know. I'm not equipped.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know how to get started. I don't even know if I'm winning or losing type of thing, right? So we're going to set up the game in a winnable, sustainable, consistent way. So first and foremost, there's kind of 3 pillars. So if you picture a tripod, you've got health, wealth, and then love. So health is going to be your mental, physical, and emotional health. Wealth is going to be your career and your finances. And then love is going to be friends, family, and romance. So those are the 3 main legs of a tripod. And here's the thing. At the top of the tripod is your well-being, your happiness. If any one of the 3 legs falls, you start to fall, right? So first what you want to do is you want to set 5 goals under each leg for 2019. And then what we did with Kevin is I had him do this out. And then I said, if you could only achieve one of these 5 things this year, which one is most strongly in your heart? Because if you chase 2 rabbits, you'll catch neither. Life is overwhelming. It's really, really difficult. I remember my aunt, she's a coach of mine. We work together every other Monday. She said, Alan, you can achieve anything, but not all at once. And you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Right? So what I had Kevin do and what I'm going to have you guys do as listeners is it's called kind of top 5, 1 of 5. This is something that one of my other coaches does with me. He says, write down the 5 things that matter to you most. He had me write down 5 dreams, really. And then he said, if you could only achieve one of these ever, which one would it be? Podcasting was the one, right? So that's the one thing that in underneath career and finances for me. Right, and so for us specifically, that's 800,000 listens in 2019.
Yes.
So that's just an example. So first and foremost, take out a piece of paper and write down 5 intentions, New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever you want to call them, under each health, wealth, and love. And then once that's done, and I've done this with all my clients too, by the way, what you're going to want to do is pick which one resonates most strongly with your heart. Do you have yours, by the way, that we can reference?
I don't know if it's in this notebook or it's tough when you have a bunch of notebooks.
Right.
They all have different stuff in them. Let me gander.
Dramatic pause.
Let's see.
Kevin
I don't think I
finds-
do. I don't think I do.
I think it was in this notebook, man.
Yeah, no, I have 2 of these.
Go to. Oh, you do have 2
yeah,
of
I have
these.
2 of these because
That's
I
right.
lost one of mine and then I got in trouble. It was a whole thing. No, I don't have mine.
Okay, so
I'm the worst, guys. I'm sorry.
No, no worries. So we'll reference mine. But so once you have those goals set, so those are your true norths for 2019, okay? And hopefully those true norths roll up into your greater true north, which is your purpose, your mission, your ultimate dreams, really. Now, once you have those 3 things, now this is where the system of success comes in. What I did with my clients and what I did with Kevin is I said, okay, what are the 5 leverage points that matter most in terms of daily disciplines that will get you closer to each one of those goals? So, in other words, what can you do every single day? There's this great book by John Maxwell. It's called Today Matters. And he's basically, the premise of that book is that it's not what you do once in a while that makes the biggest difference. It's what you do every day, right? 95% of our life is our habits. And so it's like you will never change your life until you change something that you do every day. And that could mean not doing something, like specifically choosing not to drink alcohol or not to watch Netflix or whatever it might be, but also what you are doing, right? And so I have my notebook here for reference. I have my system of success, which has 5 things under each section. And so what you want to do is take each one of those goals that you found that's most important to you in 2019, and then I want you to write down 15 potential daily disciplines that could inch you closer to that goal. Then, and the reason why it's 15 is so that you have to stretch.
Yeah. You're just throwing stuff at the wall, something's going to stick. Like, you want to expand your thoughts, and you never know. Like, when we did that, we came up with stuff that I never thought of before.
Exactly.
So that's, like you just said, you want to really expand.
Exactly. And so then you're going to have 15 things, and then you're going to figure out which 5 things can I do every single day that will get me the most result, the most effective use of my time based on my intentions for 2019. And so that's kind of based on the compound effect, the book. So that's kind of what I consider like a blitzkrieg, which is basically the Germans used to take these tanks and they used to like go all in with like an overwhelming force all like pushing at once, and it worked for a while until the Allied forces realized that they could surround them and that it was just an intimidation factor. But so every single day, that's what I consider these 15 things. It's like moving the needle just a little bit on every single one of your most important goals. Now, on top of that, there's another book by Gary Keller called The One Thing. Now, this is where a different piece of my system of success comes in, where I call it my top 3 MVPs. So I have 3 of my most valuable priorities every single day. So I have a flashcard that you all know that I do in the morning, and I basically have critical numbers where I measure how many podcasts I've done, how many gym session collaborations I've done, how many coaching calls I've done. Whatever your critical numbers are, you basically want to set up a system where you know whether or not you're putting in the reps, right? And then at the end of my flashcard, I have what's called my top 3 MVPs, which is my most valuable priorities for that day. So, for example, so my most valuable priorities for today are, number 1, a story video for the speaker page. Number 2 is research Chris Rudin. He's coming on the podcast on Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow, I got to get to that one. Maybe that should be number 1. And then number 3 is the Naturally Fit for Life program. I have to cut it up into episodes and then add captions and slides to it. So those are my top 3 dominoes. When we were in Florida, do you want to explain the domino thing?
Yeah, I don't know if I know the logistics and the percentages.
I got you.
Yeah, you're the numbers guy.
So
I'm just along for the ride on this one. I'm just chilling. This is nice.
No, well, the last one was your story,
Right?
so
I like this.
So yeah, right. So in the book, The One Thing, it's written by Gary Keller, who, by the way, Mariana was just with the other day.
Yes,
which
she
is
was.
very cool.
Shout out to Mariana,
Right?
killing it.
Mariana is killing it. I don't remember which. I think it was episode 66, Mariana. But anyways, The One Thing is arguably the most successful business book ever written. And the premise of that book is that once you have your one thing, your true north, you reverse engineer from there and you find out what's that next domino. So with dominoes, and we did this in Florida with T-Mac, we actually made a video. If you have a domino that's 50% the size of the next domino, that domino can actually knock over something twice its size. So that's kind of what the top 3 MVPs are. It's like, what is, I think the premise of The One Thing is, what is something that I can do today that is the most important thing that by doing so will make everything else easier or unnecessary? So I'll say that again because it's kind of long. What is the one thing that I can do today that is the most important thing for my most important goal that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? So that's the domino. That's the top 3 MVPs. So just for reference, I have the 15 things, daily disciplines that I do every day under each of those categories, right? Health, wealth, and love. And then I've got my top 3 MVPs. Now, the MVPs are kind of bigger tasks. They take 1 or 2 hours of solitude typically. And usually I only get like one of those done a day. And then I rate myself. I do something called cash out at the end of the day, right? If you work at a bar, at the end of the night, you have to cash out and make sure that the right amount of money is in the register. I do that with my daily disciplines. So usually it's like 13 out of 15. You're not going to have perfect days. And usually I only get one of my top 3 MVPs, but sometimes I really have great days where I'm 15 out of 15 and then 2 out of 3. And so I rate myself out of 18, right? 15 plus the 3 MVPs, and I see how I did for the day.
What if somebody, so I've run into this before with clients. What if somebody says, well, I don't want to put something that I'm going to do daily. I'll do something once a week.
Yeah, so some of my clients do that actually. Amy, as a matter of fact, wouldn't mind me sharing this. She has Sunday. She wants to do something fun, like a phone-free day. She wants to have like a day without her phone, right, where she does some fun activities just, off the digital grid. And I recommend, if it is going to be once a week, make sure it's once a week. A lot of people try to do bi-weekly, and take it from me, I have a coaching call with my Aunt Joanne bi-weekly. I don't think bi-weekly works all that well, because if it needs to be that way, you can do that, but there's 52 weeks in a year, and most things you're going to be better off if you do them daily because it becomes a habit.
Well, and the thing is, we've said this before. This is a blast from the past. This was like 40, 50 episodes ago probably.
What do we
but an apple a day keeps the doctor away. You can try to eat 7 apples on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
But if you miss Sunday, you miss the entire week.
Exactly.
And
And you're
I
gonna
think
get
it's
sick.
a dangerous. Yeah. I think it's a dangerous game. And the thing about the everyday is, so for instance, a client of mine wants to get more fitness clients, right? And one of her daily disciplines is to reach out to X amount of people.
Perfect.
I broke it down. I said, you want to reach out to 30 people a day. Multiply
Holy crap.
that by 30.
Right.
That's 900
people a month.
in a month.
Yep.
Like, even if 1% of those land,
Then you have clients.
you're changing your life.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe 30 is not the number for you. Maybe it's not a sustainable number for her yet. Who knows? We're throwing stuff at a wall. You see what sticks. You see what you,
You
have
said
to.
30 a day.
That was her. She came up with it.
Wow.
Yeah, she came up with 30 a day.
So, for this person and for the listeners, I personally would say that that's a stretch, especially if she has 14 other daily disciplines. But again, so for the listeners right now, this is my system that I've developed over years. By the way, I took a course called Insane Productivity by Darren Hardy. He wrote The Compound Effect, and I paid a lot of money for this course. It's an online course. It's the best course I've ever taken in my entire life. And so I didn't just wake up and like have this all figured out, right? This has been developed over years. So remember, we're throwing a lot at you, but figure out something's going to stick.
Yeah, you got to figure out what works for you. Like,
Exactly.
I think 30's a lot.
Yeah.
I for sure I do.
Yeah, that's
But that was the number that she threw at me. Let's try it.
okay.
Let's try it. Let's see what happens. If you can hit 30, great.
Yeah.
But I also said, like, you have to understand this is a sliding scale.
Yeah.
You might find out 3 days in that, like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, right.
That is an awful lot. That's fine. We'll drop it down to 10.
Yep.
That's fine. You and I have done prospecting. We know how hard it
30's
is to
a
send
lot.
a lot of messages.
Yep.
We know.
But if that's, does she have 15 daily disciplines, right?
No,
So whatever number you land on, maybe you end up with 3 disciplines under each of your big goals.
Right.
Maybe you end up with only one big
Right.
goal, and then you have 10 under that, right? So you can design this however you want. I just personally, for reference too, because I want to tell the listeners how this all came about. John Maxwell talks about in Today Matters, that book that. So there's really 3 books that are kind of designed: The Compound Effect and the Insane Productivity Course. The One Thing by Gary Keller, and then Today Matters by John Maxwell. Those 3 books have changed my life. And so in John Maxwell's book, he talks about if you're going to go and cut down a tree, like a redwood, and you only have this little hatchet, right? Most people, New Year's Eve comes around and they're like, oh my God. And then the first day they go out and they chop at it 170 times. But then the next day they're so tired that they're like, okay, maybe I'll just do it 90 swings. And then it's like, okay, well now 70 swings and now 50 swings. And then eventually they're not swinging. Whereas the guy who comes out and just swings 5 times, but he does it every single day, eventually that redwood would fall. So, this is going to get a little esoteric, but I always think to myself, I want to be the ant that devours the tiger, the raindrop that washes away the mountain. Even if you think of something crazy like the slaves that used to build a pyramid, it's like they just did it little by little, brick by brick, every single day. So I just think that human beings are really pretty lazy by nature because evolution wants us to reserve energy, right? So start small and build.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'd recommend. Start small and build. Now with your client, it's like 30 things. I love the ambition.
Oh, yeah.
And if you fail forward, maybe you end up on 10, maybe you end up on 5, or maybe you do 30 and then, egg on my face. But for the listeners, I really strongly recommend starting small and then building from there.
Yeah, I agree. She threw the number at me, and I was like, you know what? Like, I would love to see you do that. So if you want to shoot high, and it's also you'll figure out very quickly that the boxes that aren't getting checked,
aren't priorities.
They might not be priorities, and that's probably where you're struggling the most.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you're really focused on fitness and health, and your business is running at A+, and your relationships are running at A+, you're checking those off, it's gonna make it's a very good outline of why you're not succeeding where you're not succeeding. That's the one thing I like about it. When you're checking things off at the end of the night, you know why you're not doing well in a certain area.
So let's talk about that. So for me, foam rolling has fallen a lot, and I figured out why. First of all, we didn't foam roll at all in Florida.
Oh, no.
In Florida, no mobility work.
No.
Also last year, I had a massage therapist every week,
Yeah.
right? That was one of my clients, and we traded off massage for training. I didn't foam roll much. Guess what? I didn't have to. I had deep tissue massages every week. Now my shoulders are not so good.
I'm right there with you.
And so I started foam rolling, believe it or not, yesterday and the day before, and I'm already seeing a drastic difference. Now, I have to keep that habit up. It's the little things that matter. So for you, Kevin, you have a system of success that you've designed, that we designed, that you now have kind of self-designed. What is something on yours that you've noticed is not getting done?
Foam rolling. For
yeah,
sure.
right. That's one of the ones
sure.
that always falls.
Then it's funny, man, because it's like I'm happy with my current fitness, but I'm not happy with my business. Right. So it's almost like the fitness I let slide because I know I get by with just what I'm doing until my shoulder gets to the point where I can't lift it above my head.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, yeah, guess what? You're screwing up.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's always going to be things that are failing, but you want to make sure you're then fine. Then challenge yourself to knock those off the list. Don't let the same things fail every day because you'll look back in a month and be like, no wonder why I don't have any better mobility than I did.
Right.
I haven't been doing it.
Yeah, I haven't been doing it.
And the beautiful thing about this is not only does it give you a way to outline what's going on, but you can look back and say, did I really give 100% effort in business? Did I really give 100% effort in fitness? That's why I'm not where I am. I think a lot of people just, I'm not where I am because things didn't go my way. It's like, did they not go your way or did you not make them go your way?
Exactly.
There's a fine line, and you got to be honest with yourself when you're doing this. There's no lying when it comes to this.
Yeah, because this system, you check it off. There's no lying. So the alarm's about to go off. So we tell ourselves a story, but numbers never lie.
Ah, yes.
I genuinely, I was recently, as a matter of fact, this is a really important point. I was tracking my gross income, and the graph looked great, guys. But guess what? It didn't have expenses in there. So net income, for those of you who know, is income minus expenses equals net income. I was just tracking the gross income, so the graph looked awesome. Everything's trending up. And I realized when I started tracking net income 2 days ago that I've been kind of below water a little bit. And it's like, honestly, the story I was telling myself based on the data I was looking at was that I'm afloat and that everything's good. But I just now realized that I have to spend less money in order to stay above water and to start progressing towards being able to invest in the podcast and invest in my fitness business and invest in all kinds of different things, even new shoes, things like that I need to train with. So the point is that you're telling yourself a story every single day. We all are, but numbers never lie. This is going to create a system where, so one of my clients, shout out to her, she has a journal entry that she sends me every night where it has, and it's very simple. It's not as intense as ours, okay? But this is good for the listeners to know. It has her, whether or not her day went well, her emotional well-being. So she puts, it's actually color-coded. It's pretty badass. So I think red is a really terrible day. She was angry or whatever. Or yellow is kind of mellow day, whatever. So she has her emotional, how that went. Then she has wins for the day. So what are 3 wins, no matter how small, 3 wins that happened? So it's like Charlie said on the podcast, he's stack the small wins. I'm on a winning streak, right? So you feel good and it's motivating. Then she tracks her workouts. So very simple. She tracks the amount of weight, the amount of reps, obviously the workout, whatever it was, the bench press as an example, and then whether it was easy, medium, or hard. I got that from Matt Ryan. And now she's doing it. So she tracks her workouts. She also tracks her weight every day, and she tracks whether or not she reached out to someone new to initiate some sort of social gathering. She wants to have a better social life. So that's a simple. Oh, also she tracks her finances. So how much money did I make today, and how much money did I spend, and on what? Once you start tracking where you're spending your money, you're going to realize that you're wasting money on things that don't bring value to your life. And the only way to do that is to track it. So that simple journal entry that she sends me once per day, and I told her this. I said, if you do this every day in 2019, I can guarantee you 2019 will be the best year you've ever had.
Oh, yeah. We're throwing a lot at you. This is a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this, that means you're ready to do this. That means you're ready to take the next step. That means you're ready to hold yourself accountable for your future, for your year, for your success, for your vision, for your journey, for whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So I understand it's a lot. And like Alan said, this has been a process for him. It's been a process for me. You can work yourself into it. Start small with concrete things that you can accomplish and just work your way into whatever works for you.
So Kevin and I talk a lot about this. If you want to be happy, fulfilled, and joyous, you have to be making consistent progress towards your most important goals. Now you're going to know whether or not you're winning or losing, and you're designing a life and a system of success on your own terms.
Hammer that reading.
Dramatic
reading time.
So this is a short one, folks. And yeah, we hammered a lot at you, but let this stir the pot, and hopefully what lands is a better life for you guys. So number one, so this is from a book called Jumpstart Your Growth by John Maxwell, since we shouted him out so much today. And it starts out with a Will Smith quote. It says, the first step is you have to say that you can. So regarding the system of success, yes, you can achieve your goals this year, but you have to also design a process, a daily disciplines to make sure that happens. Okay, here's the reading. If there is an area in your life that seems overwhelming to you, health, work, family, or something else, try chipping away at it a little bit every day instead of trying to tackle it all at once. Since your self-worth is based upon the positive habits, actions, and decisions you practice every day, why not build your self-esteem and tackle your biggest problems at the same time? Don't fret or worry about it. Do something specific about it. Discipline is a morale builder. Boost yours by taking small steps that will take you in a positive direction. And when you do the right thing or you take a small step in the right direction, take a break and celebrate the small victories. If nothing is ever good enough, you can lose heart. Celebrating encourages you. It helps to inspire you to keep going. Tell yourself, I did the right thing. Good for me. I'm that much closer to success. Don't underestimate the power of small victory celebrations. Every positive action you take helps you to believe in yourself, which in turn helps you to take more positive action. So the last thing I want to say real quick is that one of my clients just got into the school of her dreams, and I got a text that was just like overwhelming gratitude for her, and I told her, I said, celebrate today. Make sure you celebrate today, because there have been so many challenging moments leading up to this point, and hard work always pays off eventually. That is the key word, eventually. You have to have urgency in your day-to-day life and get the fuck after it, but you also have to have patience on the macro level to realize that like big things start small. At one point, Amazon only sold books.
So if you're trying to accomplish something, give yourself this outline, because success usually does not happen by accident. If you can formulate a system of success that brings you closer to your dreams, your goals, that's what this episode's all about. We hope you enjoyed, and we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast.
Going hyper-conscious will absolutely change your life, because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyper-conscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends, because the more people that go hyper-conscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyper-conscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.